What your baby actually feels when you raise your voice. You are in the middle of a hard moment. Maybe you are exhausted. Maybe the baby has been crying for 2 hours straight. Maybe you and your partner just had an argument in the kitchen, and then it happens. Your voice rises, the volume goes up, and in that exact moment, something happens inside your baby's brain that most parents never get to see. Today, I am going to show you exactly what that is. My name is Dr. James, and I have spent over 20 years working with babies and families in pediatric development. What I am about to share with you is not designed to make you feel guilty. Every parent on this planet has raised their voice. Every single one. What I want to give you today is understanding. Because when you understand what is happening inside that tiny brain, everything changes. Stay until the end. Because the last part of this video may be the most important thing you hear all week. What happens in the first millisecond? The moment a loud voice reaches your baby's ears, something extraordinary happens inside their brain. Before you have finished the first word, before your baby has any idea what is happening, their amygdala has already fired. The amygdala is the brain's threat detection center. It is ancient. It is fast. And in your baby, it is the most active structure in the entire brain. When a loud, sharp sound enters your baby's auditory system, the signal travels to the amygdala in milliseconds. And the amygdala does exactly one thing. It fires an alarm. This alarm is identical to the alarm that fires when a predator is approaching. Your baby cannot distinguish between a raised voice and a physical threat. Their brain does not have that capacity yet. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that provides context and rational understanding, is not developed until age 25. Your baby is operating on pure survival instinct. In that first second, adrenaline floods their system. Cortisol begins pouring through their bloodstream. Their heart rate spikes. Their breathing becomes shallow and rapid. Their tiny muscles tense, and their entire body goes into high alert. This is not an overreaction. This is exactly what the brain is designed to do when it detects danger. The tragedy is that your baby has no way to understand that the danger is not real. What your baby is actually feeling. I want you to try something for a moment. I want you to imagine that you are in a completely dark room. You have no idea where you are. You have no control over anything around you. And suddenly, out of nowhere, a loud alarm goes off right beside your ear. That is what a raised voice feels like to your baby. Pure, undiluted shock, a body flooded with stress hormones, a heart pounding, breathing that does not feel right, and absolutely no context for any of it. Your baby cannot think. Their thinking brain is offline. There is no rational processing happening. There is only the alarm, only the feeling, only the overwhelming physical experience of a stress response that is bigger than their entire body can comfortably hold. And then, in that moment of terror, your baby does the most natural thing in the world. They search for safety. They look for you. But if your face is still angry, if your jaw is still tight, if your eyes are still sharp, your baby receives a second wave of alarm because your face tells them that the danger is still present. And a second cortisol spike follows the first one within seconds. 2 cortisol spikes in under 3 seconds. That is what your baby experiences when you raise your voice and do not immediately soften. What happens when this becomes a pattern? A single incident is not what concerns me. The brain is resilient. A moment of raised voices followed by immediate warm repair is something your baby can recover from. In fact, research shows that rupture followed by repair actually builds emotional resilience when it happens consistently. What concerns me is the pattern. When raised voices become the regular emotional atmosphere of the home, Something measurable begins to happen inside your baby's brain. Harvard researchers call it toxic stress. This is not a judgment. This is a medical term used to describe what happens to the brain when the stress response is activated too frequently, for too long, without enough buffering warmth to bring it back down. Under chronic cortisol exposure, the hippocampus begins to shrink. This is the brain region responsible for memory, learning, and emotional regulation. It is one of the most important structures in the entire brain for your child's future. And it is exquisitely sensitive to stress hormones in the first 3 years of life. At the same time, the amygdala begins to grow. When the brain is constantly scanning for threat, the threat detection system expands. This creates what researchers call a hypervigilant child, a child who startles easily, who struggles with transitions, who has difficulty calming down, who sees danger in situations that other children move through easily. These children are not difficult. They are not poorly behaved. They are children whose brains were shaped by an environment that told them, repeatedly, that the world is not fully safe. The difference between normal conflict and chronic stress. I want to be very clear here, because I do not want you leaving this video feeling like any moment of imperfection has permanently damaged your child. Normal conflict is not the issue. Every family has arguments. Every parent has moments where their volume goes up. Every home has stress. That is human. That is real. And the brain can tolerate it. The key variable is repair. What you do after the raised voice matters more than the raised voice itself. When you go to your baby quickly, when you hold them warmly, when your face softens and your voice drops and you bring your nervous system back to calm, you are teaching your baby's brain something profoundly important. You are teaching it that safety returns. That rupture is followed by repair. That you are reliable, even in the hard moments. This is the foundation of secure attachment. And it is built not in the perfect moments, but in the repair moments. Chronic, unrepaired hostility is what causes the structural brain changes I described. Occasional raised voices followed by consistent warm repair do not. The difference is enormous. What happens when you yell directly at your baby? I need to talk about something different. Because yelling at your baby directly is in a separate category from arguments that happen nearby. When you yell directly at your baby, the combination of eye contact and loud voice creates an amplified threat signal that the baby brain cannot process at all. Some babies cry immediately. Others do something that looks like calm but is actually the opposite of calm. They go still, their eyes glaze over, their body goes quiet. This is called a dissociative shutdown response. It is a protective mechanism. When the threat is too overwhelming to cry through, the nervous system does the only other thing it can do. It shuts down. A baby that goes glassy-eyed and still after being yelled at is not calming down. They are in a state of neurological shutdown, and this requires immediate warm repair. Go to them now. Pick them up gently. Speak softly. Bring them back. 5 tools to regulate. Before the yell escapes. I know that most parents who yell do not want to yell. I know that. Yelling happens when your own nervous system has been pushed past its regulation threshold. When you are sleep-deprived, hungry, isolated, and overwhelmed, your window of tolerance narrows dramatically, and reactive behavior becomes almost automatic. So here are 5 tools that work at the neurological level to stop the yell before it leaves your body. The first tool is physical removal. The moment you feel the yell rising, put your baby down somewhere safe and step out of the room for 30 seconds. This is not abandonment. This is protection. 30 seconds of physical separation gives your prefrontal cortex enough time to come back online. The second tool is cold water on your wrists. Run cold water over the inside of your wrists for 10 seconds. This activates the vagus nerve through temperature stimulus and drops your heart rate measurably fast. It sounds too simple to work. It is not. Try it once and you will understand. The third tool is the extended exhale. Inhale for 4 counts. Exhale for 8 counts. Do this 3 times. The extended exhale directly activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the calming branch of your autonomic nervous system. Your body cannot maintain a rage response while you are doing a long, slow exhale. It is physiologically impossible. The fourth tool is humming. Hum a low note for 10 seconds. The vibration of humming travels through your vocal cords directly to your vagus nerve and activates your calming response from the inside. You can do this while holding your baby. It will regulate both of you simultaneously. The fifth tool is naming the emotion. Say out loud, even in a whisper, "I feel overwhelmed right now. I feel frustrated right now." Research shows that naming an emotion activates the prefrontal cortex and reduces amygdala activation within seconds. The words themselves begin the regulation process before you have done anything else. What to do after you have already yelled. If you are watching this after a moment that already happened, here is exactly what to do. Go to your baby now. Do not wait. Every minute of delay extends the stress response. Regulate yourself first with one slow breath before you make contact. Then pick your baby up slowly with loose, warm arms. Tense arms transfer your remaining stress directly into their nervous system. Use your lowest, softest voice. You do not need words with meaning. You need sound with safety. I am here. You are safe. I love you. Say it slowly. Say it low. The melody of your voice is what your baby is listening for, not the words. Rock slowly and rhythmically at around 60 to 80 beats per minute. This matches the resting heart rate and tells the brainstem that the threat has passed. Offer skin contact if you can. Oxytocin releases immediately with skin-to-skin contact and directly counteracts the cortisol that is still in their system. And then, for the rest of that day, give more. More holding. More eye contact. More warm narration. More skin time. You are not overcompensating. You are completing the repair. The voice your baby needs. There is a voice you already know how to use. You used it the first time you looked at your baby. It is warmer than your normal speaking voice. It rises and falls in a gentle melodic pattern. It slows down. It softens. Researchers call it motherese or infant-directed speech. Your baby's brain is literally tuned to receive this voice. It activates language circuits, bonding circuits, and safety circuits all at the same time. And here is the remarkable thing. You only use it naturally when your own nervous system is calm. That is the real work. Not eliminating all conflict, not being a perfect parent who never raises their voice. The real work is returning to regulation quickly enough that your warm voice becomes the dominant voice your baby hears. The voice that says you are safe, you are loved, I am here, and I am not going anywhere. Your baby is not keeping score. They are not cataloging your worst moments. They are learning from the sum of every interaction whether the world is fundamentally safe or fundamentally threatening. And you have more influence over that answer than anything else on this planet. Every repair matters. Every soft voice after a hard moment matters. Every time you go back to them and hold them and breathe slowly and let your body say what your mouth cannot always find words for, you are building something inside their brain that will protect them for the rest of their life. That is the work, and you are already doing it by being here today. Share this with a parent who needs to hear it. Subscribe for new baby brain science every week. And remember, the love you show after the storm is what your baby carries forward. Always.